This week we are in the Scottish city of Glasgow, where we visit Springburn Park, have a look at the cathedral and a wander round our famous City of the Dead. So it's a Saturday morning. Bex has got our heart leggings on and we are in a place called Springburn Park in Glasgow. It's another one of these really nice parks that they seem to have in this part of the world. Over there's the old winter garden, which is now alas derelict, but there are plans to renovate it, I believe. In front of us there's a big columny thing with a unicorn on top of it and lots of park runners. And that's pretty cool. That is like the centrepiece of the park, is that rather nice column with the unicorn on the top, looking resplendent against the blue skies. This is going to be quite a nice wee run, I think. Well, apart from all the hills, obviously. There are some nice things in this park. This is a statue of James Reid of Auchterarder. Nope, I've never heard of him, but he died in 1894. And that solves the mystery of who he was. He was the president of the Royal Glasgow Institute of Fine Art in 1894, I think that says. So, hello, Mr. President. Bex usually wins at the leggings game, but today there's a running group here called the Jiggly Joggers, who are all in bright pink with bright leggings on, so she's not going to win that today, I don't think. Just think about the sheer majesty of a running group called the Jiggly Joggers. Their motto is no jiggly gets left behind. We have been here before, but last time I didn't notice this. This is a really nice little boating pond, and the swans are again. The blue sky and the sunshine is making everything look just a little bit better, although once again it is not awfully warm. This is almost the middle of March and I had to scrape ice off the van this morning. Boo! Right, let's try that without squinting into the sun. We're getting ready to go. We'll see you in about half an hour. Right, we're off. I'll see you in a bit. It's a nice day for it though. Yeah, it's nice. I like it here. Almost halfway there, so that's 2.5k. I wonder if the microphone is still working. And that's us finished. We're now going off to explore Glasgow. I'm going to explore a place I've always wanted to visit, and Bex is going to explore and find us a nice cup of coffee and maybe a wee scone.
You can tell
after
it's
our rosy cheeks go away.
Look at the colour of my face after the running.
After the running. This is the after picture. All these parks have got these winter gardens. It's a real pity there's not the money or the will to get them all renovated. Usually a community group takes over and they end up making it into like a community space, but how profitable or productive that is, I'm never really sure. But as well as the winter gardens, Springburn Park has got something else that's really impressive that should definitely be in use. This park is Victorian, like a lot of these things are, and I wonder what was around it when it was actually inaugurated or put together, because now it's got those and those. So not very pretty, but the park itself is amazing. And what we're going to look at up here is, we've run past it a few times and never had time to stop and have a wee look. So today, because the sky is that colour, we're going for a wee look. So whoever owned this park originally, that was their house. And I'd like to make an offer to Glasgow City Council. Bex and I have decided if they fix it up and make it all nice, we'll live in it for them and look after it. So there's an offer for you, Glasgow. Give us your big house. So there's the old carriage entrance and that'll be the little courtyard. Let's go and see if we can see into the courtyard. I'm guessing it's not very exciting, and it has got a massive bolted up metal door. Yeah, not very exciting, but it is quite an impressive house. We'll have to find out who the guy was that lived here, because he obviously had a few quid in the bank. There's a face, and there's a thing that says "Let Glasgow Flourish," and oh, she looks quite grumpy, doesn't she? Smile, smile. If she smiled, I would go eek. And the reason I think that they built the house on this particular point in the park is A, it's quite high, and B, from what would have been the front room, you got views right out to the hills, and obviously the flats weren't there. You don't get views of flats, but yeah, that's a really nice house. It's a pity that it's in that state. Some of these become museums and things, but again, how many museums can one city take before they become unviable? Have you guys seen this? That thing over there, that yellow basket, is for disc golf, where they basically try to throw a frisbee into that, which seems like a great idea, apart from the fact it's quite a busy park. You might get hit in the head by a frisbee. Oh, we've just found out this gate is actually not locked at all, it's just there. So there is the winter gardens, and there is Bex, and De Niro is over there having a sniff about. We have checked, there's nobody else here. There was a guy here before with a massive dug, but thankfully he's gone. Which means I can do what I wanted to do the first time I saw this place. I can go in for a wee explore. This is the inside of the old winter garden, where there'll be lots of really ornate Victorian ironwork and stuff, I hope. Look at that, look at all the mechanisms for opening and shutting the windows. It's all still here. The glass is gone obviously, but the rest of it is pretty much intact. So there's ventilation and drainage and all sorts of clever stuff. This must have been an amazing thing to see when it was actually in use, and there's all Victorian cast iron, as I promised you, and much more modern graffiti dotted about. Not a good place to come of an evening if you're a miscreant having a little drinky. It's all a bit exposed. As you probably noticed, I love stuff like this. De Niro's coming in for a wee look as well. Greyhound legs are quite fragile. De Niro, don't do anything silly. Oh, this ironwork is amazing. I know I'm gibbering now about ironwork, but look at the stairs. That's the old flight of stairs up to the sort of upper level, and there would have been a walkway around the top where you could look down on the garden. And through here, this is actually better preserved than the last bit, because this one, there's the sort of flower beds and the plant beds where they would have kept everything growing. That's gibberish, kept everything going, but you know what I mean. And there is the winding handle that goes up there to that thing along there, and there would have been a cord there going out that way to open and close the roof vents. This is so cool. I'm kind of in my element. Here comes a greyhound. Right, we're going back this way, pal. Watch out for the broken glass. Go on then. De Niro is now wondering where his mummy is, because she is over there. Go on, De Niro, off you go, fine Bex. It's funny how he needs carried unless he feels like jumping, in which case he can jump absolutely fine.
And this should have been some excellent footage of some zoomies, but unfortunately the GoPro camera went into some sort of bizarre time-lapse mode, which is a bit of a pain.
He's absolutely buggled out of breath. He's absolutely what? Well, that'll be time for our word of the day. It's zoomie time! He has been running about quite a lot, but the GoPro decided to go into time-lapse mode, so I didn't actually get any of it in film. So this is bonus zoomies. And De Niro says if you want to see any more zoomies, you've got to buy him a biscuit via our coffee link at the bottom of the screen. And how's that for seamless product placement? So that is parkrun done, that is time-lapse zoomies done. We're now going to go and find the local sort of town centre-y bit for Springburn, so we can get a cup of coffee, a cake, and possibly a charity shop.
What do you mean probably? Definitely.
Okay, definitely a charity shop.
But if we're heading away from the screen in Pleasant Park and into the city centre, there is another place that I might want to visit. Glasgow has got a very famous graveyard that you might have heard of.
Ah, I think that might be it over there. We've come away from Springburn and we're now here. Yeah, this could be quite interesting. This place is amazing. I've never been here before. I've never even seen it in the flesh as far as I know. And we're driving along the road there and Beck says, "Do you think that's it up there?" It's yeah, it might be. It dates back to the 1800s when burial became a business as opposed to something for the local parishes to look after. So this place was a commercial enterprise. And this is where very much the great and the good of Glasgow are buried. And we're going to go up there today and have a look at all that stuff. We're not going to do too much of it because we've got lots of things we want to see, lots of things we want to do, mostly go for a coffee. But I will definitely be back here with my Places for the Past hat on to do a full explore of this place. It'll probably take about 3 days and end up covering about 4 hours of episodes, so look forward to that one. Oh, it's a tour group, it's a tour group. Has the person at the front got an umbrella? No, no umbrella to follow, it's not a proper tour group. There are some nice stones here. We are down at the bottom level, so we're going to head up towards the top level, obviously, because that is quite cool. And if you're wondering where Glasgow Cathedral is, which you're probably not, but anyway, that's it over there. Oh, there's this local celebrity. This is the memory of William Miller, the laureate of the nursery and the author of Wee Willie Winkie. Now, Wee Willie Winkie is a Scottish nursery rhyme. Wee Willie Winkie ran through the town, upstairs and downstairs in his nightgown, if I recall correctly. So there's the guy that wrote it. And if a normal headstone isn't enough for you, you could have your little Greek-style temple built. Let's look and see if there's anything inside. There are... Oh, can't read that. There's a keep out sign and there's some stuff, but yeah, nothing exciting. This is absolutely mind-blowingly amazing. I am loving this place. I think next time I come back here I'll probably just park the van down there and stay in it and just spend days here. But why would people spray paint gravestones? I don't understand some people today. It's eek. Told you it was the great and the good. This one is to a member of Parliament for the city who died in 1888, aged 86. This place is absolutely stunning. How's that for a view with a red coat wandering through the middle of it? This is sacred to the memory of James Jameson, who was a merchant from Glasgow. A lot of these would have been merchants and bankers and people with lots of money that could afford a big plot on top of a big hill. Bex was quite taken with this one. This is John Henry Alexander. No idea what he was, but he might have been an actor, because there's a poem there about the curtain going down, and up there's tragedy and comedy, and unfortunately comedy has lost her head and tragedy has gone completely. But yeah, who's that for a memorial? Yeah, you want to be remembered, you have something like that.
I'm just admiring the names. So we've got Ernest Vivian, Viola Mabel, Constance Valeria, Ortho Adrian, Victor Lionel, Minnie P, and then you've just got George.
Just George. They'd run out of silly names by the time they got to George. Oh, the tour guide is still going. This place is absolutely incredible. Bex has just said it's massive, and she is not wrong. And this stuff must have cost so much money. And that says beloved mother in very small letters. And that's a strangely disembodied head there, but hey ho. This guy must have had some fairly well-to-do friends, because this was erected by a few of his friends as a tribute of respect. I don't think my friends will be building me anything like that. That's pretty cool. They're all sort of similar stuff, but that one there looks Islamic. That's like the dome of a mosque. I'm going to go and see if I can see who that is. Yeah, that has definitely got a fairly strong Islamic vibe going on. Let's go and have a look in and see what we can see, if we can see anything. Nope, can't see much. Nice tomb though, whoever you were. Oh wow, that's quite impressive as well. A solid big granite sarcophagus. And then lots and lots more obelisks. Usually if we see one or two obelisks we think, well, that's pretty cool, there's one or two obelisks. Here there are hundreds, literally hundreds. Do wonder what some of these iconography and some of the symbolism means. Maybe it's just for the sake of having it, because there's that looks like a swan, and a head, might be a Saracen's head, and a lady's head, and James Sheridan Knowles, who died in 1862, and over there's another sort of Saracen's type head, and then a lady, and over in the distance there's a lady in a red coat. This guy here was the founder of the Saracen Foundry in Springburn Park, who died in 1885, and over here Bex is pointing at something and saying, oh look, look, so it must be pretty cool, because you could walk about here quite a lot pointing at things and saying, oh look, look, so who's this?
All these Celtic crosses are beautifully carved.
They are really impressive, aren't they? There is some amount of money on top of this hill. That'll be the slab, if you lift that, that'll be where the coffins are. And this is from 1900 something, but again, people have been up here leaving their mark on it. That does not look like it's original, because it is just drawn on, obviously. The guy who did this, obviously, really good sculpture, not much good at hands. Doesn't look quite right. I just did the funniest joke in the history of this channel, and Beck says I'm not allowed to put it in. Boo! There are so many really nice things here, like this one, which is for David Edmund Outram, CA, chartered architect, I guess. Died 1893. Hello, missus. But again, lots of graffiti on some of these. It's not very nice, and there's absolutely no point to it. Like, let's look at this one. This is, oh, that's that guy from Postle Park. We spoke to him already, or spoke about him, or to him, or both. And here is Henry Dubbs, who was an engineer, and he died in 1876, but he's got a nice tomb, and there's a nice red coat again, and there's, yeah, this place is amazing. We're not here to look at lots and lots of gravestones today, because that's what we'll do when we come back and do a full places for the past episode up here, or possibly 2 or 3 episodes. Anyway, in the meantime, Bex has decided that it's time to go and get a coffee, and I can only completely agree. Bex is enjoying a wee moment looking out over Glasgow towards the wistful distant coffee shops, and I bet, oh, she has actually found this place goes on and on all the way down there. Definitely something for another day, because it's a bit cold, and coffee time.
Yeah, definitely.
This one is all just about how amazing this guy was. He is a minister of the gospel, was faithful and diligent, but he had a great sagacity. I have no idea what sagacity is, but he had that, and good sense. This is pretty cool. This is William McGavin. He was an author of The Protestant, etc, etc, who died on the XX, that's the 23rd of August 1832. There you go. I'm getting better at my Roman numerals, if that was right. Don't go and check, because it might have been wrong. Yeah, on you go. I'm right behind you, Bex. I'm heading straight down that way and not going to look at this chapel. No, I'm coming that way, honest. This
This place is amazing. Definitely coming back. I keep saying this place is amazing, and I keep saying that I'm leaving, and yet I still seem to be here. I better get going, because Bex will be standing down there on her phone. Young people today, yeah? And we can only see the back of this guy, but it says Maciena's Retreat, Campo Mayor, Fuentes de Horno and Badajoz. I wonder what that is. I'll have to find out, and obviously probably forget to let you know. It's another place where you wonder what it was surrounded by back in the day, because now it's got that on one side, which is not particularly pleasant looking, but yeah, up there, just stunning. It's just, I am actually genuinely gobsmacked. This is another merchant. There's lots of merchants here. I was trying to figure out what it was on top. Walking down there, I thought it might have been a tortoise. I think it's actually like a bird that is missing its head, but a tortoise would be more interesting. I just said to Bex, there's no war graves, and she said the sign down there says there's Commonwealth war graves, and then I looked over there. We're not making this up. That looks awfully like the side of, oh look, yes it is. We've found somebody to say hello to. This is Lance Corporal Richmond of the Royal Engineers from 1940, age 20. He died that others might live. So there you are, there are war graves here. Well, at least one, which probably means there's hundreds. The historic heart of Glasgow is quite special. There's some wonderful old buildings here. Obviously there's a cathedral over there and the Necropolis over there, but it's just, the whole place is just sort of wall to wall really old buildings, but as soon as you get away from this part it's all yeah, not quite as nice. There's James Arthur, who died in 1885, and there's the cathedral and big posh buildings, and this is St Mungo's Museum, St Mungo being the patron saint of Glasgow. Do you want to go into St Mungo's Museum?
Only if they've got a coffee shop.
That's a statue of the famous Scottish explorer David Livingstone, who's now been cancelled for various reasons. There's the cathedral again. Getting fed up looking at the cathedral. I want to find a coffee shop. Oh dear, this is how much of a democracy that we are, because you know how much I love hospitals and medical stuff, and this is the Glasgow Royal Infirmary Museum. Bex wants to go in, so we're going in.
It is quite a small museum, and a lot of it is dedicated to a guy called Joseph Lister, who was a pioneering surgeon. A lot of the modern thoughts that we have on things like infection control in hospitals came from Lister's work. According to this wee sign, he also performed a mastectomy on his sister when no one else would treat her, and he did that on his dining room table. And this was apparently Joseph Lister's actual mailbox, so that is what his mailbox looked like. How interesting. There was also various little medical bits and pieces. This is a gun for injecting yourself with insulin, for example. Bex was fascinated by all this stuff, especially when she found an old ward logbook which was full of patients' notes she thought was quite interesting. Some terms on there would not be politically correct today. And if you want some fascinating bedtime reading, how about this real page-turner, Radium in Cancer, which comes with its own box of radium, hopefully empty.
Well, that's the museum. That was quite interesting, and this is the building of the hospital. What an amazing building. I love these old buildings. They were all built with a proper sense of grandness, not just functionality. There's the Aroma coffee bar in the hospital. not keen on hospital coffee. Such a cool building, and the museum actually was quite interesting, and there weren't too many things in it to make you cringe. Well, thankfully, before Bex got all stabby, we've found the Little Royal Cafe, which we thought might be inside the hospital, but it looks like it's not. The buildings here are just incredible. I had a friend who's a plastic surgeon. He sat too close to the fire and melted. That's the Little Royal Cafe. It looks very nice. It's unfortunately very closed. And there's me. Hello, hello. Right. And again with no people in front of it, that is David Livingstone, the famous Scottish explorer who did a lot of stuff in Africa. There he is, surrounded by African people. There's somebody with a child getting flogged. That's not very pleasant, is it? Let's see what's on the back. It says, David Livingstone, born at Blantyre in 1813, died at Ilala, Lake Bangewolo, Africa in 1873. And there's the great white explorer doing his exploring whilst the natives do his work for him. Yeah, maybe he wasn't such a nice chap after all, but he's very famous in Scotland, and we don't have much else going for us, so we tend to sort of hang on to people like that. Don't know what that building is over there, but it's quite impressive. And that's another big churchy thing over there, in-depth tourist guiding from Scotland on a shoestring. Lots of nice statues here. That is Norman MacLeod, as I just read on the side of it, and that is in honour of the most excellent prince, William III, sovereign of Great Britain, who was pious, valiant and invincible, and by whose courage, counsel and address, often displayed in the greatest danger to the United Provinces, well nigh overpowered, unexpected safety was obtained. That didn't make any sense. To Britain and Ireland. Ah, right, yeah. We've just been to Ireland and we know how badly they were treated by the English, or British, or English. Well, William III is also known as William of Orange, and he's the sort of icon of one of the two factions of religious intolerance in Glasgow. So that's the Cathedral House Hotel, which looks very cheap. It's probably just like a Wetherspoons, really. There's the Necropolis again. But we're going up here to look at something that Bex spotted when we were trying to park, because we were trying to find somewhere to park and we thought this was quite good, but they didn't have like app-based parking, so we didn't have any money, so we couldn't park. So we parked somewhere else, which turned out to be cheaper. I'm now gibbering about parking prices like any of you actually care. Not quite sure what the building is, but they've got a small outdoor toilet. And this is a thing that I came along here to see, and it says, behind this stone lies James Nisbet, who suffered martyrdom at this place in 1684. Also James Lawson and Alexander Wood, who suffered martyrdom October 24th, 1684, for their adherence to the Word of God and Scotland's covenanted work of Reformation. This is all going back to the Reformation and the Covenanters. So these guys were killed by the Catholics for having the views that they had. And the guys named here are referred to as the Townhead martyrs, and 12 Covenanters were executed in Glasgow in 1684, and two of them were executed at Howgate execution site, a quarter of a mile north of where we are. If you're wondering how I know that, I am reading it from that sign.
We've left Glasgow's historic heart behind because we couldn't find a cafe, amazingly. We've come down to Duke Street, which is famous for being Glasgow's longest street and for its charity shops, and we also saw a wee sign that said there was a cafe, so let's go and get Bex a coffee. And it's a wee cafe that looks really nice, a bit of a hidden gem. I'm thinking I might have a haddock muffin, or then again I might not. And as always, Bex will decide what she's having about 2 seconds after the lady arrives to take the order. By this point we were both quite hungry. I wonder if I'd get in trouble if I ate all the sweeties out their wee sweetie jar here on the table. Probably, but only get in trouble from Bex. Posh coffee. Happy Bex. Oh. We are rubbish food bloggers. There's mine, and I forgot to photograph it before I started, and there's Bex's, and yeah, that is what we had for our dinner. How exciting.
That's the cafe that we have just been to, and it was very good.
The lady in the cafe told us that Duke Street was a great street for charity shops, but we'll be the judge of that. We do know a thing or two about charity shops. Let's go for a wee look. Straight to the tack corner. Little teapot. And while Kelly Page put in an early contender for album cover of the day, we had a hunt through here and there wasn't much else. Bit of Nana Muscuri. Who likes some Nana Muscuri? Or Barbara Pennington. Yeah, I have no idea who any of these people are. That's Al Jolson. I know who that is. But hiding behind Al Jolson and his rather dodgy black face, we have Nana Muscuri. Lots and lots of Nana Muscuri. If you're a fan of Nana Muscuri, then this is definitely the shop to come to. Somebody must have had basically her entire vinyl collection. They've just dumped the whole lot into this charity shop. I wonder how quickly those will sell. It's all Nana Muscuri. This was a great street for charity shops, but the charity shop next door could not compete with the Nana Muscuri overload. But they did have some Barbara. Ah, Barbara. So was Duke Street a great street for charity shops? Yes. Did we buy anything? No.
I got into trouble earlier on when I said Bex got a bit stabby when she didn't have coffee. She's never got stabby in her life, but she does get a bit sort of glowery. And bless her, she puts up with so much with me running about going, oh, I'm just going up here to look at this, I'm going to go and film that, and walking about talking to myself, so she does very well. The girl definitely deserves a coffee. In fact, she probably deserves a medal.